Welcome to the Mountain View Pure Podcast, where your journey to exceptional water quality begins. Here's your host, Dan Toth, owner of Mountain View Pure Water. They proudly serve homeowners in the Tri-Cities and beyond, offering advanced water and air purification solutions that support a healthier lifestyle. The mission is clear, helping you get great water.
Many people rely on bottled water for convenience and perceived purity, but is it really the best choice for your health and wallet? Welcome back, everyone. Skip Monty here, co-host/producer, back in the studio with Dan Toth, owner of Mountain View Pure Water. Dan, how's it going?
Doing well today, Skip. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Sitting here drinking a bottle of water, which is the subject of today. You know, that's something that I think we were all taught years ago, that bottled water was good for you and that it was, as long as you recycle, it's good for the environment. Is that the case, Dan? Is bottled water really worth your dollar?
Situationally, you could make a case for bottled water, but I think one of the problems that we've all run into is over the past 2 decades, we've found that bottled water has become more than a solution, but we're actually kind of chained to it. We don't really want to drink the water that comes out of the spigot because it might taste like metal or smell bad if we're on well water, or maybe it's kind of like dipping your mug into the neighbor's pool. It tastes and smells like chlorine. So we don't want to put that to our mouths. So we pick up a bottle of water that we assume somebody has approved and made safe for us. And that assumption is really where the problem is. Bottled water, out of necessity, we carry bottled water around so that if we get thirsty, we have something to drink, that we have a confidence in its quality. But the problem is, once again, we're assuming that it's quality. I have talked to people for about a decade about this since it's become really a big issue. It used to be that all the bottles were BPA, plastic, and then that became a big sore spot. People said, hey, this is causing problems. And so, wouldn't you know, the BPA plastic was replaced with a different kind of plastic, which is just honestly not any better. It has its own problems. And so the plastic is one of the big problems with bottled water. The second issue is what's actually in the water. I have 3 criteria that I ask people to give me the information about their water that they choose. The first one is, people choose bottled water based on price. It's the cheapest one there. They bought the bottle because it was the one that was on sale or it was the cheapest one. The second one's actually the bottle quality. Some people just refuse to buy these cheap plastic bottles that as you're unscrewing it, it kind of like torques around and squeezes and the water comes out all over you. And the third one is actually the taste. People have certain water that they taste that they like and they just go with that. And so that's the standards that we have for water quality. And not one of those has anything to do with the purity or the quality of the water. And so we've kind of convinced ourselves that we're doing something that's healthier or better for us, and there's no standard to assess that by.
Well, what are some common, like you said, what's in the water? What are some common contaminants that can be found in bottled water?
Well, the list goes on and on. So the first one is BPA, and there are a whole lot of issues with plastics. We have come to understand recently that these plastics are hormone disruptors. They create estrogens in our body, and those things are not good for us when it's artificially created. So the more plastic that we have in our body, the more estrogen is produced. For ladies, this causes certain issues. For men, it causes other issues. Guys don't need estrogen in their body. We need testosterone. And testosterone, when it breaks down, creates an estrogen in the body as well. So we don't need to add any extra estrogens. Most men feel like they're not as manly to start with these days because we don't do as much heavy work. We're not outside as often doing things that guys need to do to feel alive and vibrant. And so when we put extra products in us that cause us to be less manly, that creates just all sorts of issues in our physical response. We are putting on more fat and less muscle, and those things aren't good for us. And then also, if they disrupt brain waves, they disrupt hormones in the body. These things can really cause damage to our mental acuity and how we live and how we respond to the environment around us. So that's one thing. There's another concept
Wow.
that people are becoming more and more aware of, which is PFOS, PFOA, and PFOS. There's like 600 of these different contaminants that go into that category. And these are microplastics and other things that cause our bodies to just hold on to more and more plastics. Some of the crazy ideas that I've heard are that we actually have a plastic spoon's worth of plastic in our brain because of all the plastics that we've taken in. And if you understand how these things can affect hormones and how our bodies work and how our brains function, that's really dangerous because we don't have a way to remove this stuff effectively from our body. Whatever we take in, we retain some of it. And so it has accumulated in most people. Yeah.
Wow. Spoonful of plastic in my brain explains a lot.
Actually, it's a plastic spoon's worth of plastic.
Oh,
Yes.
geez, even better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we have a lot of things that we eat come in plastic. Real food is really good for us. Processed food is not because it has lots of artificial things, and some of that is actually plastics. And so when we are eating these things, our body retains some of it. It doesn't all just get removed. We're really good filters. And so we filter out contaminants, and whatever can't be removed from our body gets stored somewhere in the body.
Well, what's an alternative to, obviously at home filtration system is what you need, but as far as to, let's say you have a filtration system, you have pure water, you've tested it, I guess glass. I mean, what alternative to carry your water with you? Glass.
I have a glass bottle. I have reverse osmosis water in it. And that's kind of what we would expect as the solution to this is you have to filter your water. There's a lot of water filters out there. Most everyone has a water filter on their refrigerator. So if they're getting water out of the refrigerator, they feel like the water is better because it doesn't have the taste and odor that the water does coming out of the tap. Some of those filters can remove some of the plastics and microplastics that are in the water, but they don't remove other things like pharmaceuticals, herbicides, pesticides, and other things that can cause us lots of problems. So that's not necessarily the right solution either. It's better than the water coming out of the tap. Some bottles of water can have really pure water. There are certain water that is spring water. People really just love it. It tastes great. It has low TDS level, which is just the amount of dissolved solids that are in it, which reduces the amount of potential contamination because there's not much in the water. But at the same time, that water can have other contaminants that aren't being tested for before it's bottled. So that's not necessarily the perfect solution. Reverse osmosis waters are bottled, and that's a good quality water until you put it in the bottle because now you have extra plastics that you're taking in your body as soon as you drink it. So the best solution is the standard around the world, which is reverse osmosis. It removes a very high percentage of contamination as well as compounds and chemicals that would not be removed by just a carbon filter. And so reverse osmosis gives you a great quality of water, tastes phenomenal. It can be used for cooking and even cleaning. But when you put it in a glass, then you have a really safe solution to the water that you're taking into your body because it doesn't have the contaminants and it doesn't have the plastics.
Wow, man, I had no idea there was so much bad stuff in bottled water.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a very deep subject that we should try to continue this conversation in another episode if you're up for it.
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine.
All right, awesome. Well, Dan, love it. Appreciate the information. Very helpful to all of us. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, Skip. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on the Mountain View Pure podcast. When you're ready to transform your home's water and air quality, call or text 423-218-9361 for a free in-home consultation. For more information, visit mvpwater.net. Remember, great water is the foundation of a great life.